So I thought it would be good if I made a homemade video. You can already see it's homemade. A little bit about what the fluid motion factor experience is when someone goes through the program for 2 days. First of all, when someone plays really well in golf, usually they have three experiences, three subjective experiences, and see if you can relate. First, time slows down. Feels like you have all the time in the world, especially at the top of your swing. Second, mind becomes very quiet. You're not thinking that much. Third, the body feels liquid and powerful and feels like you're able to make self corrections in the swing. All three of these subjective experiences can be correlated and related to one experience in the mind that I call the fluid motion factor. The problem is you never know when this experience shows up. You never know how long it's going to last, and when it leaves, you're not too sure where to look to get it back. Well, what I do is I teach a systematic program that sets up the conditions for you to experience by design, what you normally experience just by chance when you play your best. And how do I do this? Well, over a course of 2 days on the range and on the putting green, and with a wedge in your hand, and then ultimately on the course, I teach you 4 sets of what I call fluid cues. Fluid cues set up the very subtle condition in the mind that allows the body to be free. These cues are done before you step into the shot, or as you're walking into the shot, or right before you pull the trigger, or during the swing, or when the swing is completed. The program is very simple because when you played your best golf, it felt very simple, and you're never going to get simplicity from complexity. You're only going to get simplicity from simplicity. Now, the problem that most golfers have, let me correct that. The problem that all golfers have, literally, is when they play their best, they're not too sure what happened. They're not too sure why they played so well. So when they play their best, where do they look to that the reason why they're playing well? Well, I was swinging really well. I was swinging really well. And I had a certain swing thought that works. And then they go out the next day and they do exactly what they thought they did the day before when they had an excellent ball striking day, and they have a very poor ball striking day. So they go back to the drawing boards. And essentially, this is the life of your typical golfer. They wake up in the morning, they're on their way to the course, and they're thinking, well, what's going to work today? Let's try this, let's try this. And sometimes it does work. But then it goes south, and then you're looking for another answer. Well, let's try this, let's try this. So golfers, for the most part, even on the PGA Tour, or the LPGA Tour, they live in a state of doubt. They live in a state of doubt because they're really not too sure what happens when they play well, and they're really not too sure what happens when they don't play well. Well, when someone goes through my program, there's absolutely no question in their mind what they have to do in order to play well and access their best swings. This does not mean they're going to do it 100% of the time. Let's be realistic. No one's going to swallow a fluid motion factor pill and all of a sudden they're not going to miss a shot. But, and it's a big but, they're going to know where and what they have to do, and they're going to have a systematic program that's going to allow them to do it more often. In other words, it's a program to make you more consistent. Let's get the doubt out because if you don't know what you have to do in order to produce fluid motion, and you don't know what happens when fluid motion shuts down, essentially you're at the blackjack table at the Bellagio and you're sitting with 14. Well, you may get a 7, okay? Chances are you're going to get a 10 and bust, and the house usually wins. So when someone goes through the program, all the doubt is removed. Virtually all the doubt is removed, which in itself is highly significant. Because when you're playing well, where's the first place you go to congratulate yourself that you're playing so well? Well, it's a swing. Well, I was doing this today in my swing, and I was doing that. And then you try to do it the next day and you can't do it. So it's not the swing. You have to have you have to have more or less some basic fundamentals in the swing. It's that you were accessing, for whatever reason, what you already owned. You were accessing what you already owned. And that's all I teach. There's one goal in the program. It's the same goal for everyone, whether they just won the Masters, the US Open, or they just want to break 90 on a consistent basis. I'm going to teach them how to access what they already own. Do you think that would be worthwhile? I have a feeling that it would be very worthwhile.